Because jumping all in and taking a leap of faith means you've got no safety net. There is nothing behind you that's going to say, hey, guess what? I've got you if you fall. Land on something really hard, and guess what? You're going to get back up again. Because when you land on something that's soft, which is your safety net, guess what? You'll stay there. Because if it was safe, everybody would have been doing it. It requires you to dig in deep to say to yourself, okay, let's go for it. Let's go. Let's jump. Let's just jump and see what happens. We're going to talk about what it means to be all in and why this is such an important decision that you can be making with anything in life. Now, many people are really, maybe you find yourself where you're like, I don't know why it's not working. I don't know why I'm not getting the results that I know I could. I'm not sure why, I'm not seeing these things, but I'm doing everything. Now, the first thing I would ask someone, I'm like, what are you doing? What is it, all the everything that you're doing? Because many of the times people think that they're really doing everything, that they've really showed up, that they're taking the action, that they've learned what they need to learn, that they've implemented, the desired result. They've implemented to get the desired result. But when the reality comes in, no, many people are living in that fear, where they have a backup plan, where they're in a safety zone, where they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And what I call this is like the anchored situation, where you are not really all in. Because jumping all in and taking a leap of faith means you've got no safety net. There is nothing behind you that's going to say, hey, guess what? I've got you if you fall. And being all in is usually when there is nothing to catch your fall. You're going to land on something really hard, and guess what? You're going to get back up again. Because when you land on something that's soft, which is your safety net, guess what? You'll stay there. You'll stay comfortable. And many of the times, women in my communities that are married, that don't have that that same drive to go do the thing they have to do, have that safety net. They have that person that's breaking their fall, which is the other income at home. And many times that doesn't actually help them with their success, because they haven't had that struggle. They haven't had that ability to go, okay, if I don't move, guess what? I could lose everything. Because if they don't move, they don't lose everything. They've got a husband at home or a significant other at home that's catching their fall. For me personally, when I made that decision to be all in, I think it was 2020. And I had decided, the world was falling apart at the time, by the way. And I decided there was only 2 options for me. It was either I go all in or I lose. And losing was not even on the table, because I couldn't do that. But I remember telling myself, I'm like, well, if I lose my house at this point, we could probably live in my big car. I had a Sequoia at the time. We can go to the gym and shower there and spend some time there or something. I was coming up with some radical plan, and but it wasn't feasible. I was like, I didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, that does not sound like a good backup plan. Okay, this is just going to have to work. And that is what I decided with. I made a decision that I was going to take some big risks. So I made some big investments into mentors instead of packing that money away that I had made for expenses for the next 8 months or whatever, 6 to 8 months, putting that money aside to take care of my mortgage. I was deciding, you know what, I'm just going to go all in and bet on myself. And when you go all in, you'd be surprised of how much success comes after that. You'd be surprised when you take big risks, how well they pay off. It's when you're wishy-washy and you're like, well, I think I'm going to do it. Or maybe I'm going to kind of sort of, and that's like saying you're kind of sort of pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. And what happens when you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out? The one that's out, that's not all the way in, serves as an anchor. How do you think you're going to leap? How do you think you're going to fly? How do you think you're going to know what you are capable of doing in this lifetime if you have 1 foot anchored in for safety? And the only reason why you're doing that is because you don't feel safe to take that leap. Well, guess what? Nobody does. Because if it was safe, everybody would have been doing it. It requires you to dig in deep to say to yourself, okay, let's go for it. Let's go. Let's jump. Let's just jump and see what happens. And this takes people out of that stalemate, that income ceiling that they're in, the status quo. Come up with another word for beige, and just staying in the mediocrity of where you are. And you want to know why things aren't working. It's because you're not all in. You're not all in. You haven't decided that it was going to work. It cannot work if you have one foot tethered. It cannot work if you are still staying safe, because that safety is going to be an impediment for you to grow. That safety is what is stopping you from seeing what you are actually, what your potential is for what's possible. And many times people stay in relationships because they're afraid of being single and starting all over again. So they have an anchor at home. And this anchor is just, really something that's not helping them expand into what they want. Or they stay safe in their jobs because the income's there, they know what to expect. So they do that. Or they stay safe inside the offers that they're creating because they know, all right, this is the client comes in and, we do this is the result. And it's boring as hell, but they just decide to stay there. They know that they could be making more money. They want to make more money. They want to do greater things, but you know what? The thought of like actually leaping scares them. So they feel like they leap a little, it's the thing, but they don't get the results. They don't get the big wins because you don't get big payoffs when you're playing it safe. You don't get big payoffs when you're being comfortable. You don't get big payoffs when you're, hiding behind the safety of that anchor. The only way you're going to know if you can fly and how high you can fly is if you just literally jump. And you've got to cut those ties that are keeping you tethered, because the more that you stay in that tethered situation, the more that you are holding your own self back from what's possible. And when clients come work with me, they're tether. They create that tether. They might think that they're flying. They might think that they're really, taking that leap, but they have been operating from a place of safety. Joining me and working with me is usually one of their biggest leaps, because they'll say, this is the biggest investment I've ever made. This is the biggest leap I've ever made. And it pays off. How many of you right now know that you could be doing something bigger and better, but you're not? You're staying comfortable. Did you really come into this lifetime to just be so comfortable and not know what your full potential is? Did you really come into this lifetime just to go to a job or just to have a basic business and not really know what could be created? I personally didn't. I knew I came here to leave a legacy, to leave a trail behind, that there was a before and after when Shamina was in this world, that people are going to remember me, that I'm going to leave my energy. I'm going to leave my teachings. I'm going to leave a legacy with myself, with my teachings, with my children. I know that when I leave here, my fullest potential is going to be experienced because I went all in, and I was deciding that I wasn't going to be tethered anymore. I took big risks. I made those big leaps, because guess what? When you do, I tell you, 9 times out of 10, they pay off. And the 1% that it doesn't, it becomes a learning lesson from the next time you leap. And guess what? You take bigger leaps, you take bigger jumps, because you know what? You have now evidence of proof that, guess what? I should have leaped before because it worked. It worked before. It works. It works. I just have to take that action. And this comes down to pivoting too. Maybe you're pivoting in your programs. You're pivoting in who you're serving. You're pivoting, going from brick and mortar to the online space, and it's scary. But if you're exchanging dollar for time right now as a doctor or a lawyer or a therapist out there, I'll tell you, as a former attorney, you could be doing a different thing right now, So are you ready to take that leap? What's one thing that you could say you're really all in on? Are you really all in on, your weight loss program? Are you really all in on, making the commitment to walk every day? Are you really all in on what it is that you've decided, maybe cooking at home every day for the whole month, meal prepping, whatever it is, reading a book every week? But doing things halfway is not going to show you what's possible. And this requires you to take action. It requires you to do the thing that scares you and keep doing the thing that scares you, because the fear is not going anywhere. You have to use it and utilize it to get you that next level. I call it a springboard. So go all in, jump on that fear, and let's see how high you can fly. All right. Hope you enjoy this podcast episode. If you did, please send it to somebody that might need to hear it. Leave me a review. We have a masterclass coming up. Go ahead and join it. It's in the link. I would love to help you increase your income. And our swag shop is open. So go take a look at the Quantum Woman swag and connect with me on the socials. And that's it. Bye for now.